Today I'm going to be giving the gorgeous Millie a relaxing brow spa lamination using a new system by Browz. So let's see if this product can make these brows more uniform and overall a better shape. So some of you might not even know or understand what brow lamination is. So let me break it down really simply. It's basically a treatment that relaxes the brow hairs so they can be brushed and set into a new shape. Our brow hairs naturally tend to grow in a more sidewards direction, and they can be really stubborn when you're trying to guide them into a better shape using things like brow gels and makeup. But by gently stretching them out and setting them into a new direction, it can actually help cover any gaps and it can instantly create a fuller looking brow. Or you can use the treatment to keep it soft and simple and just use it to make the brows look more tidy and put together. But a lamination treatment actually doesn't work or suit everyone's brows, and I'll explain why later. So today I'm going to be trying out the new Browz TGA Lite lamination system. Now the type of lamination system I use really depends on the brows I'm working with. So if I was working on a finer, softer, more delicate brow like Millie's here, I would usually go in with a gentler system just because it's a lot kinder to the hair and I would be less likely to over process the hairs. Whereas with a stronger, coarser brow, I'd typically reach for a TGA system as it works a little bit faster and it's more powerful. But what's really interesting about this TGA Lite system is that it's been designed as a bit of a hybrid, so it gives you the strength of a TGA formula, but with added ingredients that slows the processing time down, so you get more control and less risk of over processing the brows. So this is a little bit of a game changer. So this product that I'm applying now isn't essential to the treatment. It's actually a 1.5 step, so you can add this step as an extra. This is the Buff Brow Mineral Botox, and you apply this after step 1 and before you apply step 2. And this basically is a nourishing treatment that goes back into the brows to rehydrate, strengthen and condition the hairs after step 1. And I think Millie was that relaxed that she'd actually fallen to sleep at this stage. So now it's time for step 2 of the Browz TGA Lite system. So choosing the right system for your brow hair is crucial, and also choosing the right therapist to do the treatment is crucial, because even someone with all the tools doesn't necessarily know how to use them, which is why you will see or even may have experienced over-processed, curly, kinked, dry brow hairs, the opposite of what you want when you're having this treatment. But it can ever so easily happen without the right training and understanding of what system and hairs you're working on. And this is the step that sets the brows into their new shape. Now when I say set, that doesn't mean the hairs are stuck in one position forever. It means they're no longer as stubborn or resistant. So now whenever you style your brows, you can easily guide the hairs into the shape you want. So earlier I mentioned that lamination doesn't always work for everyone's brow type. And what I really mean by this is that it doesn't always suit everyone's brow. For example, if I laminated very thick, very dense brows with strong, coarse hairs, technically the treatment would work with an experienced technician and the brows would lift, but in my opinion, on some face shapes, it can look a little too heavy or overly structured, almost less natural, and because the hairs are so thick, you often end up needing to trim them, which can sometimes make the brows appear blunt rather than soft and natural. And on the other end of the scale, if someone has very fine brows with really short hairs, almost like 1 or 2 lines of hair, lamination doesn't always have the same impact because the hairs are so short, there isn't as much length to lift and redirect. so the transformation isn't always noticeable. So at this stage, I've mapped out the brows and I'm going in with a hybrid tint. This is the new Buff Browz gel dye, and this is going to give you both colour on the hair and a soft stain on the skin underneath, so you get that fuller, more defined look instantly. And I know this looks really scary with this much dark tint on the skin, but you have to trust the process and you have to trust the colour guide to know that the brows will not turn out like this. And what did I tell you? The colour and shade I mixed was perfect, giving us that soft, natural look while still adding definition underneath. So now it's time to wax the brows. So you can see this orange stain around the brows. This is called a barrier. And what this does is it creates a protective layer over the skin, helping to reduce the risk of any grazing during the waxing process. Now, a barrier doesn't guarantee there won't be any grazing, but it does give you a much safer working surface and lowers the risk significantly. So I'm now just using some Buff Browz brow oil to help lift off any wax residue, and this is going to help remove the barrier from the skin. It also helps to condition and nourish the brow hairs. I'm now going to apply the Buff Browz Brow Calm. This is honestly one of my favourite products at the moment. It's a calming treatment that's designed to soothe the skin if there's any irritation or sensitivity during or after the brow treatment. So if the skin becomes a little red, reactive or irritated, this is going to help quickly calm everything down, reduce any discomfort and help bring the skin back to normal. And I've applied a slightly thicker layer so I can now go in with a soft brow massage to really help the product absorb and calm the skin. You can really see here how healthy and hydrated the brow hairs look. Just to explain, lamination is a chemical treatment that works on the internal structure of the hair, and it is similar in the sense that, like other chemical services, it needs to be carefully controlled with the right products and timings to avoid over-processing. But when it's done correctly, you're left with soft, nourished, glossy brows rather than dry or damaged hair. I'm now also going to introduce my cryo balls for a cooling brow massage. which is going to help calm the skin, reduce any puffiness, and leave everything feeling really refreshed and lifted. Now I'm moving on to step 3 of the Buff Browz TGA Lite system, and this is their Nourishing treatment. And I'm going to apply this using a brow brush, and I'm going to leave it on to really hydrate and condition the hairs. I almost like to think of this step as a treatment and a brow gel in one, helping to nourish the brows whilst also softly setting them into place. So here's a reminder what Millie's brows looked like before. They were a lot lighter and seemed finer than her hair tone, and overall just not very defined. And just look at this transformation. The treatment has completely given her brows shape and balance, and I feel like it's even lifted her eyes. The colour matches her hair and skin tone perfectly without ever feeling overly done. This product has absolutely delivered everything I wanted and more, leaving the brows looking healthy, defined and completely uncompromised.